All right, we are live. We are here at Player Driven Live. It is a beautiful Thursday, and to set the expectation, we are just dealing with lots of Wi-Fi issues from the East Coast to the West Coast. Everywhere something is going on, but we have a special guest, Justin Ruiss, today. Justin, man, welcome. You want to say hi?
Hi. Hello. It's nice to be
Justin
on
is
here.
SVP of Media Research at BWG Global. They do a lot of cool research. We're using some of it in some of the content we're putting out there about ad spend games. Tell us a little bit about what you do, Justin, what BWG does, and what brings you here today to Player Driven Live.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for having me. We are a boutique primary research firm that conducts our primary output here is a 1 hour forum session with industry executives covering a number of different industry topics. We cover enterprise software, consumer goods, fintech payments, and in my landscape, we cover media and e-commerce. I host about 30 events per month on a number of different subjects like retail media, paid social, paid search, TV, you name it. And of course, gaming is under that landscape, which is why I'm here, since there's
Awesome.
much news to talk about.
We are excited to tap into that wealth of knowledge. We've met Justin through our friend and co-host, Colin. Colin, how are you on this wonderful Thursday?
I'm good. For those who are watching or listening or clipping this, I guess is that what the kids do? Watch clips. They don't realize what a treat they have. Justin is both on camera and normally he takes all his insight meetings on a telephone, like we live in the '90s. And we get to look into what all Long Island is all about. Do you want to live there? I don't know. Maybe. It looks pleasant. I can see why he never leaves Long Island. So what a journey, what a pleasure to have Justin on today. And excited. And in all seriousness, his calls are really interesting. They get really different perspectives from different people from the industry. So I always appreciate being a listener on some of them. So it's good stuff.
One. Such wonderfully said words, Colin. We appreciate this here. We're excited to hear you two bicker. And we're gonna kick off with a topic which has rocked the industry this week, which you have called about 3 months ago that Call of Duty should not be a part of Game Pass. And what seemingly is in this last few weeks of just every day, Xbox is dropping more and more news. It's like they thought we forgot who they were for a minute. So they're like, let's line up something big every day and just hammer it home. Colin, you want to celebrate?
Yeah, I will celebrate. I would say this, and this is like, I don't know if they're rivals still. It depends on who you talk to, I think, in the industry, like PlayStation, Xbox. Every time PlayStation walks into a pretty massive rake, Xbox always says, "Hold my beer." And they just go about doing like 100 other things that just hides all the news about SIE because it was like crazy. SIE, when their former leaders came out and basically said they were, he quit because he was forced out because they would not let him continue making single player games, more or less, if you read between the lines. And that was like, oh my, he went on the record in Australia on this, and you're like, wow, what news? And then Xbox just came out with not just 1, 2, 4, 5, 8 pieces of news in the last 72 hours, all leading up to their earnings call next week. So I'm like, wow, they're just rapid fire. And so of course, the industry conference focus shifts back to Microsoft. But yeah, no, I was right. Who knew that lighting $300 million on fire 1 year, and Lord knows how much last year with Black Ops 7 would force their hand to go back to selling the game like they should have always done. Because LTV, lifetime value, for those who don't know what that means, doesn't actually equal cash in hand. And Microsoft's in a cash in hand business right now as they raise, various parts of the world to build more server farms to kind of feed the AI overlords. So yeah, makes sense. They want cash. Then the only way to get cash is you have to sell a product. The only way to sell a product is you stop giving away for free. And so that's where Call of Duty finds itself. Also, they did lower the price of Game Pass a bit. So tip of the hat. I think they reportedly saw bleeding of like 25%. I've been looking into this of Game Pass subscribers on the Ultimate tier. So makes sense. They found the price point people weren't willing to pay for. Good luck on earning those users back because that's also expensive on the user acquisition side. Anyway, I'm happy being right. Now, and my mind just goes more to other things they should be doing, but I'm happy being right on this one. How do you feel, Greg? Xbox Stan, defender of the X?
Okay, so revisionist history is something, right? You know, you look back when Xbox acquired Activision, you thought to yourself, you know what? Game Pass is probably the right place for Call of Duty. The idea is you want to expand the player base and sell in-game transactions. And if that's the case, it works on mobile. Why can't it work for Call of Duty? So my question is, do we get here because Black Ops 7 was bad? Or do we get here because the model failed? And clearly the model's shown its leaks throughout the year, but a good Call of Duty game would still move units on other platforms and sell in-game transactions. So let's not discount the fact that they released a subpar game, and that is also a cause of what's happening here.
I would love to get Justin's thoughts on this, but like to me, it's no, serious. I'll set you up because you actually analyze this industry more than I do. I just I live in it. My company works a lot with these people, but I don't actually pay that much attention to the film side. But like, other than my kids wanting to go see a Mario movie, right? That's my extension of my film relationship these days. So to me, it's like they're figuring out windowing. Who knew that? Asking your core customers to pay a premium price point is a winning strategy, and then you get the kind of the price sensitive people on the other side of that downstream after a period of time, let's say 6 to 9 months. Like this has been this is like 100-year-old business that people keep wanting to light on fire for reasons that are just conflating, almost like cable. They're like, oh, we had a great business of bundling everything together, but what if we just lit it on fire and tried again? And so to me, gaming, or not even gaming, only Xbox is experiencing this because Sony, who's been doing it right the whole time, windows their product after 9 months. So, and it's probably because they own a film studio, so they're not stupid. They know what this business is. They have a film department goes, this is what you should do. And they're like, okay, makes sense. We'll do it on the gaming side too. Nintendo won't even put current gen games on the subscription model. There's like, here's old stuff, have fun, pay us there. Xbox feels the need of like trying to be Netflix where it doesn't work. But Justin, what's your thoughts? I would love to know your parallel with the other industries you cover.
It's funny because if you think about like the TV and the film industry side of things, because we speak to exhibitors, theater exhibitors, we speak to studio professionals, and they have this love-hate relationship with Netflix, right? Some will tell you it's great because viewership is up and it's a rising tide event for all of these types of um, films and TV shows to get a lot of great viewership, though they do have to compete on the tentpole side of things. And as prices continue to go up, it's harder to get people to come into theaters, and they're looking by hook or by crook to sell popcorn tubs and collectibles and all different kinds of things like that. There are different levers to pull in those instances, but you'd think there's a lot of like, okay, we've seen how some things work, and we can examine another industry and we can sort of apply it to what's happening here. The thing that I'm like, and I think of a lot of media buyers, we talk to media buyers, they get jazzed about with something like subscription is the idea of being able to sell ads on it or sell ads against it. And you've alluded to this in the past too, Colin, where it's like, hey, an ad supported tier might be on the horizon, and hey, might be attractive for brands. Like brands may sit there and say like, well, if I'm got a captive audience and I know the completion rates are going to be like 100% because somebody's waiting to get to a game, it's not that bad of an endeavor. It seems pretty good.
Oh my God, you're touching on what my piece is going to be on this week, Justin. Ooh, I'm dumping in the ad tier. I don't disagree, but man, if it could be any other company besides Microsoft, because you do the history of how they've approached advertising, and you cannot find a company of their size doing it more poorly, more consistently over like a 25-year span than they are. They lost search. They keep buying these, like Xandr is the most recent ad tech acquisition they did. They bought Xandr, which is like the DSP. They brought Netflix in to kind of oversee their video inventory, and they were effectively fired in like a year and a half. And they shuttered Xandr down there shortly thereafter. So in recent history, Microsoft doesn't do well in ads. And in the past, they don't do well in ads. So I do think for all platforms that are in subscription business, the natural gravitational pull is going to be toward an ad supported tier. And I'm not the first. Yoast has actually written, like, so Yoast from Super Data and Super Yoast is like Substack. He's written about this a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yep, he's right. That, I mean, this is where it's going to end at some point, and the completions rates would be insane. And yeah, and like, this is how I always break. This is how I always like understand where the world's going to end up. You're going to have your, I always equate it to Disneyland, right? You have your Sherpas, which, if you don't know, the Disney Sherpas, the people that wear these vests that walk around the park, you pay like $10,000 for 3 hours for you and like 5 people to walk through the park. It's insanely expensive, and you see them around, but you get whatever you want. You get any game or any ride you want. You get any merchandise you want. You get to go in like places no one else gets to see, like the Disney like apartment at Disneyland, et cetera, right? Like all these perks. There are the one percenters. Then you have like the middle class, as it were, right? We all buy Lightning Lane because I am not waiting in a line. So you can get on any ride you want, right? You just have to plan your day through an app, and you kind of decide what you're going to go on, where to use your like fast pass on, and you get through the day and you ride all the rides you pretty much want to do if that's your goal, right? So there's like the Lightning Lane, and that is an extra cost on top of your ticket. So if you're a family of four and you're paying like effectively like $50, $60, $70 on top of every ticket, that's not nothing. On top of, if you want to ride Rise of the Resistance, you're also forking out another $30 on top of that just to get access to the Lightning Lane on the Lightning Lane, right? So like a hat on a hat. And then you have Standby, which is brilliantly marketed as, no, you don't necessarily get to ride this ride, but if you want to wait for 2.5 hours, there's a chance that you'll get to ride this ride because all the other people have priority above you because they paid more for it. And this is how I think advertising is. Advertising is the standby line. Like, do you want to waste your time being pummeled by ads? Great. Standby, it's free. It's you get to do it eventually, but you're gonna have to take your medicine on getting there. Whereas people that buy a variations of less ads subscription to no ads subscriptions are everything else in kind of my analogy here. And that's where I think everything is gonna go to. Most people are gonna watch stuff for free. Some people are gonna pay for limited ad exposure, and very few people are going to pay for the no ads and just going to buy their time back is basically what we're seeing across media.
You
That was
jumped from Microsoft to ad spend like crazy here. So Justin, jump into us. Those people that are spending on ad spend, what are the platforms that we're seeing that major growth?
It's we just ran a massive, we run our massive social media survey, and it's no secret that Meta with Facebook and Instagram takes up the lion's share. TikTok is still appreciating and still getting more attention from media buyers. And it's funny because TikTok has always been more of like a brand centric, brand focused type of platform, though the direct response and so the performance side is starting to naturally play out as well. The surprise one, which I think, and I was kind of calling this prior, was the strength of Reddit continues to just skyrocket. And the contextual targeting and things like that are massive factors in allowing people to execute well on Reddit. And if you think about it from the game perspective, it's where a lot of players live. It's where a lot of players do their research. They chat about games. They talk about games. Studios and developers should be considering a lot of sort of the activity there and how they can effectively execute. That being said, the download that we get on Reddit is, if you are not authentic on that platform, you might as well not even approach it. Because if you try to insert yourself as like, hey, stop by to buy cornflakes in like a subreddit about like Marvel Comics, you're probably going to get laughed off, or you're going to get torpedoed pretty quick. Reddit's one of the bigger ones that I've seen. I'll throw in there from some other ones too. Amazon has been electric with their TV platform, with their DSP, seeing a lot of growth and attribution there, which is awesome. And surprisingly too, like Roku is still holding their own on the CTV side of things. There's a lot of really good things that are happening on the media side of things. Colin, please.
Oh no, you touched on one of my famous notes of my own personal history. I know very much why Reddit is good at ads because I was at the company, the startup they acquired, to power their contextual ad engine. We were like a social listening company called Spike Trap. They bought us. Because I pivoted them to ad targeting when I joined them. And I was like, because I worked with them at Twitch. And long story short, it was like, hey, ATT is going to kill ads. Apple ad transparency and tracking is going to kill ads. Everything's got to go to contextual targeting. You should put your AI toward that because this space hasn't been updated in like the better part of like, decade because we all went to device targeting. So I helped my audience. Yeah. So anyways, it's interesting. It's great. I love hearing that Reddit's doing well on the backs of a bunch of people I know that are still there. On that acquisition. I would love to I want Greg to jump in back to Xbox, but before we do, I have a question to ask you, Justin. Would it make sense if Microsoft really wanted to get in ads to buy something like a Roku? To then
okay. You want some hot take? Super hot take?
Super
Roku has been one of those names. I mean, if you talking to many people in the industry, it always feels like oh, they're the next domino to fall to go into somebody else's camp. And when they announced that Amazon partnership, everybody was like, oh, this is them dating, right? Before they tie the knot. Yes, I love the idea of broadening out into like more channels and getting more prolific on that side. But I wouldn't sleep on Yahoo. Yahoo's DSP is really strong, and they have a ton of great data. Again, laughing, but the media guys who are listening to this are like, he's right. He's definitely right. I can. They all sound like that too. But I would not sleep on somebody like a Yahoo who's sitting on a ton of great data. They execute well on display. They're making some really strong moves, but there are a ton of DSPs out there that can really execute super well.
How long can Yahoo exist on my parents' email address? That's just my main question. Like,
they buy a lot of stuff. My parents buy a lot of stuff.
That'd be like an emoji button where I make emojis like laughing at you when you say something like that. It always reminds me of though, like that Oracle's still alive. If you would have asked me 20 years ago working in IT, like, why is Oracle still here? And now somehow they're buying TikTok. It's just like, why is Oracle? And I feel the same way about Yahoo, right? Like they lived off their sports and then they screwed that up. They had their finance, they screwed that up. Like, why are we still trusting Yahoo with our stuff?
Well,
this is going to be a hot one. Yeah, I told you.
Look, I love nothing more than old legacy media companies folding into each other. We see it everywhere, and this is just another one. I guess Microsoft's not so much a media company; they would just be buying effectively a media company at this point. But no, back to the Xbox. Like, what would they do? Like, I don't like back to the ad side. Greg, jump in as a player, but like to me, it just makes sense. At some point, they're going to scale a like they own the platform. So the reason why ads don't work in games is that everyone that tries to do ads in games historically are people that don't actually own the inventory. So you have like these, I'm gonna get sorry Anzu or ANZU, like, but you purport that you're gonna put game or ads in games. You don't own the games to put the inventory in, and you don't own the platforms in which you're distributed. So this business model is never gonna work because ultimately, if it does work, the platforms are going to squeeze you like Xbox, or the inventory holders are going to squeeze you like an EA or anybody. So like you're an ad network without really any kind of sort of like put the like a thing to stand on, right? And so, but back to that, like yeah, ads on the platform level makes sense. There's the most data at the platform level, right? You know the consumer, you know where they live, you know their credit card, you can do data mapping on that, so you can actually build a pretty sophisticated ad engine on top of a game platform like Xbox, and everybody else seems incredibly allergic to doing it. And I think Xbox, Microsoft generally, with the current like vibes I'm getting from like reading like Bloomberg and everything else, like feels like they are kind of going in that direction where I could see them being on CTV, which I know they're already doing with like Samsung and whomever. I could see them putting it more centric in their platform, but then to basically offset the kind of the losses they're making on Game Pass. Like, okay, great. You want Game Pass, you want to play games for free. It doesn't matter how long you play them or how many you play, but we're just going to put an ad in front of you before you do it. And I think they could build a pretty interesting business on that if they leaned in outside of them stepping on their own rakes because it's Microsoft. Make that clear.
I would add too that like the environment is very closed loop, right? Like as much as like retail media networks like Walmart can kind of grade their own homework in a lot of ways, like Microsoft could do that, but it's their own ecosystem, like you said. It's their inventory that rolls before the start of a game or before you boot up the system, and they can really showcase a lot of really great. That's why I said it before. The analytics on it can be really, really good, and especially if you're showing like, hey, the video ad completion rate was like 100% because somebody wants to play Starfield, so like they'll sit through it, and that's to an advertiser. Those are really strong metrics, especially coming from mobile, right? Like those are the things that people lean on to say like, hey, this is we're starting to see some real attribution. This is actually playing out. The data looks good. The data, the analytics look good.
So, who are the advertisers they court? Obviously, game companies would have to pay to be seen, so that's the most natural, and that's the one they could do the most attribution to, right? Like that's
Yeah.
one. And
How many energy drinks exist?
But think about it. I mean, you also have Windows data from a lot of these people too to understand what websites they're going to as well. All of a sudden, I'm looking at the new Galaxy phone, right? Or you're looking at the new iPhone, or you're looking at that sleeper sofa, right? Like all of a sudden, like I browse this at work, and because I happen to be logged into my account, it comes through. I think more people would want this data than
yeah.
what.
And from a Microsoft perspective and from a margin perspective for Microsoft, at some point they're going to have to get serious about ads because they're not going to become the next $5 trillion company until they go conquest the next thing. Like Amazon has done it. Google has done it. Alphabet, like everybody basically figures out, hey, we got to do an ad business at some point and tied to what they corely do. Google does search and video. That's what their ad empire is built on. Amazon does retail, the digital retail. That's what the majority of their ad business. I love that the Prime Video is doing okay, but the majority of their ads is on search on Amazon.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And
Netflix.
Microsoft.
Netflix. Like they capitulated.
Yeah, at some point. I mean, I also think that at some point Netflix will be free, like for some people, and they'll just get pummeled with infinite ads. Because that just makes sense from a distribution standpoint. But yeah, Xbox is gonna. I think they're in a unique position where they're the most likely platform in gaming because it's not gonna be Valve. They don't need to. They make enough money and they're plenty happy as a private company. It's not going to be Sony. I mean, they know they've done ads, but not at the scale. That's not in the DNA of Sony to do this. And it's not going to be Nintendo under any sort of circumstance. So who is it going to be? Well, more likely than not, Xbox.
Yeah, I agree.
The ones that jump into it.
It's
and it's not gonna be Netflix with their non-business in gaming. Sorry, Netflix, but I'm so bearish on this. You cannot explain to me what you're trying to do on the TV set for games. It's not gonna be that easy.
It's fascinating how YouTube experiments with how long a user's willing to wait to watch their video. You hear sometimes that people are watching almost 5 to 10 minute ads. Like those are the dramatic ones, right? But like even now, most streaming services like 1 of 5, and each one's a minute long video, right? Like I don't know why obviously more people are starting to copy the YouTube way of doing it, right? But there's no reason. Again, I once heard from a friend, and he said he worked at Spotify. He said Spotify prefers that you don't become a premium member because they get paid more off by watching ads. So why would the same not exist in gaming? And if Microsoft can conquer that seat, whether it be the couch me streaming to the TV, like you said, Colin, or something else, right? Like there's a, I'm not gonna say there's a gap there, but there's, I think, a possibility there.
Here,
yeah.
So I want to piggyback off of that because it's a great point. So, Colin, your thoughts on this? Do you obviously the last round of leadership had some idea that ads would be a factor going forward with Game Pass or in some capacity in Xbox? Do you think the new leadership is sitting there saying the same thing? Like that's the best idea the last group of leaders had.
I think where she came from Instacart, who also built an incredible ad business on top of the fact that they're the shopping cart. I don't want to go to Costco's. They bring me my food company out there. Like, yeah, I do think so because they didn't actually execute anything. They just started doing tests, so they can claim credit for anything that was being done. Right, so that's probably the biggest thing. Had it been already out there, like everything's an Xbox, as an example, they're like, nope, we're gonna light that stuff on fire to show that we're serious about changing things. To this, they haven't actually figured this out yet. But again, it's an opportunity for them to actually figure it out. And And I love the idea of YouTube and ads. I haven't seen a YouTube ad on YouTube in like I couldn't even tell you. Like I pay my $14.99 a month to just escape all ads for me and my family on YouTube, and we all just share one YouTube account. It's great.
So is the tower not ivory? It's like crimson that you live in. Is that?
Ah, I look, I see what's happening. It's a trade of time. I'm like, oh, how many hours of commercials do I want to watch a year? The answer is 0. If I could do that, 0. So I duck it. Now, Justin, I did work in media at one point in time. So I come from I used to be in the mix and all this sort of stuff. And I'm like, well, I want my time back.
Yeah.
That's
I
what
mean, we
I
live
believe
in
the word is
the attention economy, right?
Yeah.
The only way to get time back to your attention economy time is to pay to get your time back, and your time is being dedicated to these ads. So you want more time to play Crimson Desert and build out what you're building, you will skip that 5-minute YouTube ad.
Or maybe
And that's
not.
why the best ads are content. The Mario movies are a giant ad wrapped in a movie. Great idea. Make a movie and make it an ad. That 3-hour ad. I'll sit there and watch it, and my kids will go bonkers for Mario afterwards. That's what I
It
think.
was a focus group for Star Fox. That's basically.
Is Star Fox popular? Yes, totally. Well, let's jump to the other Xbox news real quick, Greg, because I want to hear your thoughts. So, like, there's an interesting stuff going on there, and then they also leaked that they're doing something with Discord, which I'll kind of sidestep, and then they also announced a Halo extraction shooter, maybe, which I think is the worst idea in the world. I wanted to like take a walk after seeing those news. I'm like, can they sell this franchise back to Bungie? They both need it. Bungie needs a nice little post marathon. We're done with Destiny, kind of jolt in the arm, and Microsoft doesn't know what it's doing with Halo. Just let Master Chief be free. Go back to Bungie. That's that's what I want.
I did not hear about that, but what I did hear about was the possibility of Halo dropping in July, I think. And there was a rumor that right after their next, they might shadow drop it or something like that. And I think if they did that, that would be a great move for them. I think that is great marketing to get people into the Master Chief collection to then sell that multiplayer bundle that they're going to sell right after. You know why that works really well? Let's talk about your windowing. We got about a month and a half left of school, maybe 2 months left of school, and then the summer comes and the kids are going to be home. What better way than giving PlayStation users their first taste of Master Chief for free? Maybe not for free. That's going kind of crazy, but like at a steep discount, you charge it. People will pay for it on PlayStation. They'll buy it. And then all of a sudden, summer comes, you drop the free multiplayer experience where you have the Call of Duty thing that should have worked, the scale by the number of players, sell microtransactions, and you crush it. I think that is the strategy to winning your fandom over, is drop your most popular game for free to a whole new group of audience to start eating.
Wow. Cool. Can I counterpoint that? No. This is what they've Who under the age of 38 cares about Halo? That's a real question I have, right? I think there's this executive at Microsoft mentality. It's like Halo, Master Chief, what a great franchise. They have killed that franchise since they broke up with Bungie. It is a dead franchise. The most popular franchise, the best thing that Microsoft can do to drive sales to its company is put Forza 6 on PlayStation even faster. Yeah. Just shove it. Forza Horizon 6. That's their flagship franchise now, is Forza Horizon. That's what the kids like. Now, let's talk about old men. Old men like myself, I love Master Chief. I have a little guy over here that's Master Chief. What makes me sad is just watching the awful series of games that come. I actually like the Halo Infinite just fine. I think it was an okay game. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. I was like, probably the best game they made, which is saying what they've done to the franchise. They made an awful Showtime show, which I'm normally a completionist with this sort of stuff, and I couldn't even watch season 2 because season 1 made me so just annoyed as a Halo fan. I was like, I'm out. This is what I'm getting as Master Chief. They've just so beaten that poor franchise in the ground. Now, so I don't think the kids are going to race to buy Halo because I don't think they care about Halo. So, like, it could work as a shadow drop because it's marketing and it's an interesting beat, but
give me the age. Give me the
and
age.
It's the best
Give
game.
me the age. Just throw a number out there. It could be a dart. At what age do you stop caring about Master Chief?
I mean, how long has Halo Studios been making Halo?
Maybe 15 years?
10, 15 years? No, subtract.
Well,
yeah.
10. All right. Either way, the people that have money to buy the PlayStation are going to be the people that know who Master Chief are and excited to be able to strap on and put that gear on. You know what? Let's pretend, Colin, I'm in your house that doesn't have any Microsoft products. Poor household. And you all of a sudden
I'm running a Windows machine right now.
You download Halo 1 and you're playing on your PlayStation and your kid's watching you play it. Is he going to be like, that's cool, I want to play that?
No, he wants to watch Black Cat run around in Marvel Rivals. I mean, like, I think the genre.
39-year-old he wants to.
I just think tastes have changed, and maybe that's why they're chasing the next trend too late, which is extraction shooters. They're like, let's do an extraction shooter next, and it's like,
but okay. Is it too late?
For which one?
Do you think there's a room for another extraction shooter with Tarkov and Marathon kind of doing the core gamer thing, and then you have the mass audience Arc Raiders? Like, I don't know. I'm pretty dubious there's room for another one.
Here's my take. Arc Raiders is Fortnite, Marathon is PUBG, right? So like you have your hardcore group that's involved in that one game. I think the transient players would say, I'll try the next one. And that's the Arc Raider group. But that's me as
that's fair. Player, right? I can get behind that, but then like, are they gonna jump to Arc Raiders 2 or are they gonna jump to a Halo version of Arc Raiders? That's where I'm like a bit perplexed. And then how similar is it to Marathon at that point?
That question. So I'm reading in the chat here. We got a lot of people talking here.
Oh, jump in.
Ben likes that question of what I think it's probably referring to the fort, or I don't know what it's referring to, but I think what I've learned about extraction shooters is that no matter what, you're going to create a bubble of people that want to play that game. Once you start playing it, if you're caught up, you're going to jump back in. I think if you miss that window, you maybe come on during that first reset where everyone's evened up again. But I think no matter what, Fortnite does a really good job at resetting the season, doing stuff like that. I don't think the audience is big enough in an extraction shooter to be able to carry it. And it worries me about Halo because I think Halo needs more of that mass appeal. And if they start niching down too much to a siloed genre, I think it's going to scare away the general audience that Master Chief needs.
Armchair, like, corporate strategy. If you consider how, the show aside, I know that was a sore spot for people, but the books have always been well received. People understand the story. They've always attached to the story really well. Why not just do no multiplayer? I know this sounds crazy. No multiplayer, but like a tight 8-hour experience. Let the guys at Machine Games do it, right? They're great at those. Like, just for Halo. And, make it a $30 or $40 experience. Doesn't have to be the most bleeding edge game, but get people, to remember that, like, hey, this story is really cool. These characters are really cool. Like, get back into the mix. But I don't know. I mean, that sounds super costly for like a real big roll of the dice. But the franchise is so beaten. Why not take another stab at it that way?
You're completely wrong, but the same person would have said the same thing about Perfect Dark, right? And we saw what happened with Perfect Dark. It just completely floundered.
It went perfectly dark.
Yeah, right. And I think it was Machine Games, right? Weren't they the ones working on it, or were they building something else at the time, right?
The Coalition or something like that.
Oh, yeah, that sounds right. That sounds right.
I mean, that's it. Like, you want to. Let's build a tight-knit story with this IP that sold bananas. Let's put all our money into it, and you're going to trust them again? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. I don't know. I love your idea, though. I mean, it makes sense. Make it a single-player experience. I mean, but the thing is, like, Halo is multiplayer, man. Like, think of all the people that had their first Xbox hooking it up to GameSpy, trying to create tunnels, like, we were the dorks that like created online play during this time frame. Like, this is what the Halo audience is, right? And then you went to arena shooters, which maybe the first Halo was, and it's just I didn't know what the definition, or maybe the definition of arena shooter didn't exist, right? But it kind of went esports, right? And I feel like that became much of a different game than kind of.
Yeah, I mean, the history of shooters is actually an interesting topic. I would say started with like on console, started on PC. Then the first one was Bond, like a GoldenEye, right? It's like the first console shooter. And then the next major one in that like and I could please rip me apart in chat, but like I think the next one would probably be Halo Combat Evolved when it came out. It was supposed to be an Apple game, it wasn't. It became an Xbox game, and that's like a really interesting story. But that like defined console shooters for the next generation, and Call of Duty, Battlefield, etc. Then thereafter, but like yeah, but this is so long ago, and I go back to I just don't think people care. And like I would play a single player Halo game. I just think like Master Chief is an icon, like Mega Man's an icon, and he's becoming less relevant every year. He is not in the kind of zeitgeist of everything, right? Like people just care less and less and less and less.
Coming out. There's a new Mega Man.
There. Well,
a new Mega Man always randomly comes out and never is like never advertised other than like 3 months before it drops.
Yeah. But I have one more question. What's up?
Oh, I was going to ask you a question.
Oh no, go jump in. Let's go.
Yeah, because if we're talking so much about what's within like the Xbox Studio suite, Blizzard sitting on treasure trove of IP that could be, well executed. Yeah. But you have your thoughts there.
Oh yeah, better owned by Disney for sure. But like, let's which I guess is the whole point of all this. And like, I still think by my end that this is all just tap dancing to sell off the whole bun thing and to drive up the value of the properties they're sitting on, because I think that's unavoidable. Maybe not, but I personally think it's unavoidable. But yeah, I do think like they're sitting on a treasure trove of IP that can obviously drive value in an ad-based model. Like if as cringy it is for probably the Blizzard folks, if they wanted to put an ad in front of your load screen in World of Warcraft that you paid your way out of it, I mean,
sure,
I could see that happening, right? I think all things are on the table to drive those margins up to 30%, and the only way they're going to get there is going to be ads, and that's the goal. Microsoft is have every organization have a margin profile of 30%. Then there's no world in which they're going to get there without ads.
Yeah.
And without a free version of their offering, like literally pay nothing, here's ads. That's the way to do it, to scale fast. So to that end, I think the other interesting news that was teased. So like, did you see the Discord stuff for like they're like, ooh, we're gonna go back and work with Discord, and they're like, what's that all about? And both sides are playing on this, Discord and Microsoft. It cannot be a Nitro bundle with like Game Pass. Thing, like yeah. Who would care? Like
I would.
We're doing some great things. Get your Nitro with your Game Pass. I'd be like,
I will tell you why. And this is a plug. Join the Discord, guys. You could scan the QR code above my head here and join it. But what I've been looking to do is in my branding is how do you customize the URL for your Discord server? You need Nitro. So if you're a Discord owner and you're looking to customize your URL, you should be the one buyer of Nitro for your entire channel. Well,
not that they're buying anything. A buyer of Discord could very well be Microsoft, and that fits into and this is like a crazy idea, but like Microsoft buying infrastructure tools, like Discord effectively is an infrastructure tool who I'm sure they make okay money in ads, but I mean they're very limited in the sector they're kind of in, which is games. Like that kind of level of partnership makes a ton of sense if they were going to kind of scale an ad business. And so to me, that's my crazy moonshot, is like maybe there's a world in which, like, because Discord's supposed to IPO, but when and where and how is an open question. Will the investors get their money back? Doesn't seem like it. That's the main thing. So who could come in and save their investors? Well, the $4 trillion company looking to shift their gaming story.
Do you think so? Amazon and Roku flirting, dating. Is this the kind of news that is like signaling that? Because I feel like at some point the bankers might be sitting there saying to Discord, like, you gotta show something. You gotta give us something because, we filed. We want to go through with this, That's kind of the way I think about it.
Yeah, Discord's always been so perplexing to me, where I just don't believe, and I could be completely wrong. I have friends at Discord, so I'm just like from an outside perspective. No, I don't have insider info. I just make it clear. I just look outside looking in. I use the platform, and I am constantly like, what is the actual value here relative to what they raised? Because that's so it's like, it's not a it's not Reddit where you can have everything on that platform, right? It's so niche in gaming, right? What they do core. They're so core. And so because of that, I just don't see how they could be a standalone company. And I might be completely off here, but I just don't see a world where they're like a standalone publicly traded company. I think their destiny is always going to be bought by someone. And for a while, it was always like, well, Twitch and Discord submerge into a super platform for gaming, which is like, maybe that would have made a lot of sense. Didn't happen, but another option would be, well, if Microsoft wanted to bootstrap an ad business in games, and it beyond just having the platform be the ad kind of engine, would help a lot to also plug a Discord engine on top of that and further integrate with them. And that's where I got like, this could be more than just. And it could be just Nitro News, guys. We don't know. They're going to announce it soon. And I'm not saying they would announce it, but it's something that leads into the step of dating, as you called it, Justin. I think that's like a move into dating. Like, what is the relationship with Microsoft beyond you get Nitro with Game Pass look like? And I think that's probably what they're hinting at, which would be interesting. And it would do better for Microsoft because they're good at owning infrastructure. And to me, Discord's infrastructure, because it's what PlayStation uses as their native chat app. Like, it's what Steam, they have their own native chat ecosystem within Steam, but most people use Discord. It's like it just kind of fits what Microsoft's good at, which is that software layer that just works, right?
Yeah, I think like Slack getting bought by Salesforce kind of stalled a lot of like the goodwill that Discord maybe could have made because of the fact that you're saying like, hey, it's a workflow, it's an infrastructure type of platform, but then people pop the hood open and they say, oh, well, there's just a ton of gamers here, right?
Let me.
You're not going to advertise CPG. You're not going to advertise like look at the quests on Discord now. They're heavily entertainment based. They're heavily game based. So it's you can kind of pick your poison there of like who's really going to execute well on this. But again, to your point, if Microsoft were to beef that up and understand how they can attract different types of enterprises to try and advertise on it, could be really good. But I don't know.
I mean, I did not speculate an acquisition of any type of sort, but I think an ingrained partnership makes Microsoft such a valuable gaming company. I think if you look at and you were to call out what are the main things Steam is missing, I think it's that true aspect of community. And I think if you put Game Pass, which definitely not as powerful as Steam, but has its positives, and you build a community function around Discord, not to mention the data you'll have access to from people and the information, but you're basically creating a true online gaming community. And I think it makes so much sense. I think it makes too much sense that Microsoft wouldn't do it. And I think you'd piss off a lot of Discord if you do that. But if you say, you know what, for 3 months you get Xbox Premium, whatever, right? You know how many people won't cancel it then, and all of a sudden, like, boom, you're part of this. And maybe you don't make much of a change. Maybe you keep it like Minecraft, where it's like, all right, we're just gonna not rock the horse and just it be there. That might be the play.
And so the question I would then get, and this like, man, I really just spoiled my whole newsletter here. But like the question I would ask myself is then, well, they tried to buy Activision. Why are they throwing more bad money after bad by continuing to buy gaming assets that just don't seem to work? And to me, the underplaying like is the AI training data. So they're going through a messy divorce publicly with OpenAI right now, where they're just throwing salt in each other's eyes, right? Or whatever, sand, whatever you want to say, right? And Microsoft's going to have to spin up their own natural language model on the back of OpenAI's model because they own that too, ironically. But as they try to improve and make it better, they need their own proprietary data sets. Discord.
Yeah.
All right.
A lot of conversation. I think that's really interesting. And that's how they would probably justify it to the market.
In our last 20 minutes, let's talk a little bit about games, because
okay, boo. All right. Did you finally play Pocopia? Are we going to talk about Pocopia?
No, I want to talk about a video I watched last night, which was...
We're talking about games. Let me tell you about this video.
This training mission I watched for the beginning of Bond. I think it was like Introduction to Sky, something. Sky, no, I want to say Skyfall or Skynet, but that's Terminator and Bond. But I think it did a really good job at differentiating how you interact with the environment, how you talk to people, how you can go about missions, and how you don't have to stealth things. And I got to tell you, watching that trailer got me kind of stoked about playing this game. And I think maybe it's a little bit long of a trailer or information to watch, but I think it's a great video. And I got excited about Bonds coming out. And I think it was a good move. That, along with the music video, the music from What's Her Face, Lana Del Rey. I think we're seeing a little bit of momentum here behind Bond, and I'm hoping we can kind of see some gains there.
I mean, I hope so too. I want to play this game. I also know that if it's launching the same week as Forza Horizon 6, it's going to get pummeled by Forza, which is going to be the it game of Q2. So I wrote about that last week, so I don't beat a dead horse. I personally, this game makes a lot of sense, and if you had to put me feet on the fire, as it were, and say like, what do you think it'll do? I think it'll do over, because I always thought like this is scratching an itch that has been vacated by Sony because they chased live services for half a decade, which is, where's my single player action adventure non superhero based game where I could press, or in the past, in the case of the Ghost games, where I could press XY, go through some cool cutscenes, get an awesome cinematic experience, and get that summer blockbuster feel inside a video game, which they just left for dead with Uncharted. They just stopped making Uncharted for reasons that are just lost to me, right? And this is like, oh, it's like Uncharted. That's the first time I saw any asset. I was like, oh, it's like Uncharted with Bond. This is what I would definitely play as a summer game. Probably a 30-hour campaign, good story, good villain, fun action sequences. I don't have to learn how to cut wood and chase cats off roofs, and I don't know, not shoot arrows in faces by hitting the wrong trigger button like a certain game that Simon Pullman's obsessed with. Like, yeah, like that sounds great. Easy dad game. That's what I think. That's
You
Bond.
saying you'd play, so for Bond you'd play the living daylights out of it?
Oh, there you go.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Practicing your dad jokes.
Seriously, like he was in here for like 10 minutes.
I'm excited about the game, and whether IO Interactive can publish and market a game is an open question, because they maybe published one of their Hitmans, but before they were owned by Square Enix, and then I think WB Games published the last Hitman. I could be wrong there, and now they published Mind's Eye, which was a disaster last year. So can they publish a game? We shall see.
What happened with Mind's Eye? Weren't they going to come out with answers in their last DLC? You think anyone played it?
No. The answer is no. Nobody cares.
No one
voted it up.
No. The answer is no. Justin, what do you think of Bond?
Boy, I mean, women want him, men want to be him. No, I'm. This was not exactly on my radar this go around until somebody kind of brought it up back into the zeitgeist of like, hey, by the way, this is coming out. I was actually I'm more jazzed now playing it too with Pragmata, and I think Crimson Desert sucked a little bit of the oxygen out of the room for kind of everything upcoming until I put my hands on the controller, and that's when it was like, I could probably come back to this, like 5-10 years later. But Bond wasn't really on my radar that much. I'm more excited for Saros. I think Saros is scratching a very good roguelike itch these days. I think the backlog is just too big. There's stuff that I haven't gotten to from the beginning of this year. I still want to get to Cairn or get through Cairn. At this point, Romeo is a Dead Man is another one that I know I'm probably like one of the only people that bought that game, but I think the backlog is too big for me to want to sit there and say I want the Uncharted type experience, unless I think a lot of trusted voices come out and say this is what you wanted, right? This was the Uncharted that you wanted. So I'm very on the fence. And I don't know if that's a lot of other people too.
No?
Bond is definitely like, people love Bond. So
two things there. one, if you spent $15 a month, you get some of that time back by skipping ads in YouTube. So it's at least one Romero can die, whatever.
Ivory Tower. Ivory Tower there, right?
Yeah. The second thing is
You're
they
welcome,
kind of,
everyone in.
you know, the whole not going back and playing Uncharted. I think that puts more kind of emphasis on for Halo. Like you need to stick the landing. Like you can't screw up the other Master Chief. Like you screw up the other games. Like you got to stick the landing. Because Justin, will you play Halo if it came out? Did you play it in the past? And it probably needs to be right to keep going, or else you're gonna put it down right away, right?
Do you wear green because of the like Microsoft stuff?
Nah,
I only asked that
I
because
love all the stinkers. Clearly,
losers. I'm a Jets fan too. I've never owned an Xbox, so I've played Halo. I have, you know, at friends' houses and stuff like that. But I mean, I was also like the jaded jerk who was like, Resistance is gonna blow Halo. Like that game's way better than Halo. Even though Resistance was good, but it wasn't Halo.
was it?
So
I owned an Xbox until Xbox Bone 1, right? That was the last Xbox I owned. So I used to always own Xboxes until I didn't. But I did play Halo Infinite on my PC. So to me, they reach me in other places. But yeah, I mean, Greg, you do wear green. You're an Xbox stan. I sympathize with the back catalog. That's kind of what I feel like. Any new game is always has challenges. I mean, I write about this a lot. I think if I were to guess, I think the market generally thinks it's wait and see on some of the Bond stuff. It's not as hyped as I would expect it to be. Like a good comp there would be like Wolverine. People are hyped about that game. Like that game is trending to be very, very solid. And I'm sure we'll see a lot more at the beginning of Summer Game Fest, State of Play, or whatever Sony ends up doing to highlight that game. But that's a big game this year, right? On top of, go ahead.
I was gonna say, does the carryover of like RE9 suck oxygen out of the room for something like Bond?
It's so far removed. I think what sucks the oxygen out of Bond, honestly, is like people want to play Forza, like, and that's actually where I'll give flowers. So, of all the value destructing decisions that Xbox has done to its franchises by putting them on Game Pass, the one you could sell me on probably benefited it was Forza. Because I think Forza is one of those kind of games, and I'm just kind of shooting from the hip here, where it's like most people won't play a car sim game if they had to buy it. They're like, not for me. I don't, it's too complicated. I don't want to manage my tires and like my exhaust pipe and like all those other not like, it's not for me. But when it's free, you're like, oh, I'll check this out. And you're like, wow, this is killer. To me, that's probably been a brand benefit to Forza as a franchise because they gave it out on Game Pass at the beginning of the decade with Forza 5 and now Horizon 5. I should keep calling it Horizon 5. They pivoted away from the core game. That's the other thing. They're like, you know what? We're no longer a grimy build your car engine sports racing game. We're just going to do open world stuff now. And
we still got it. It's just a longer cycle.
Longer, less important as they like go worse. They're already thinking, where on the world can we put the Forza franchise next? Are we going to like Eastern Europe, India? Like, they're going to look at a map.
It is, but I think it's important to keep that motorsport audience as well. All right, I think it helps kind of build the platform. I think they need each other, and I think that's what makes each game better. Plus, I mean, to stab at Gran Turismo, right? I mean, they kind of do better at what Gran Turismo perfected.
And I mean, look, and this is where they win out. Xbox, the Forza franchise is like here, and Gran Turismo is here. Like Forza is they sell more Forzas on PlayStation, which I'm sure you saw the sales numbers. Like they sell more Forzas on PlayStation than they do Gran Turismos. And that's them winning, right? Xbox, the publisher. Anyways, yeah, I think Forza 6 is gonna crush. It's gonna crush every game, including I have 2 games coming out that same week. I'm gonna play Lego Batman with my kid, so that's a foregone conclusion. And then I'm gonna play Bond probably for myself, unless the reviews are like unless people tell me it's awful and it's buggy, and I'll be like, I don't have time for this. I better go back to my saving cats and talking to people and walking around on my horse and play the never-ending game that's Crimson Desert.
Hold on a second. Serious question. Do you find that there's a lot of like unnecessary cursing in that game? Like there's way too like everybody's just so foul-mouthed. Like
If
Like,
you
come
lived
on.
in that world, wouldn't you be? I saw I mean, yeah. I just find it's clearly that game was meant to be an MMORPG, and they just bolted it onto a single player game, which I both like find it godly endearing. I'm like, oh man, and also just like, man, this is like a 500-hour time suck to get the most out of it, right? And it's got way too many moves for your main character. It's like way too complicated for controller. And that's my fault. I bought it on a console. I'm gonna play it on a console, but
It's
it's
like
a
you said
keyboard and
gaming.
mouse game. It's a keyboard and mouse game. It's never meant to be played on a console. Sorry, Probiz. Like you should just it should be a PC game. If anyone is gonna buy that game, play it on PC.
All right. Any final words before we do actual exit intros? Anything you want to talk about?
I think Saros will do well. So good job by you. Being your Saros fans is well above Returnal. So congrats on that one. And the biggest game last week was not that. Oh, we should next week we should talk about Assassin's Creed Pirates.
New one. We should get Tom on here. My
I'm
boy Tom
how
Henderson.
I'm so mad / concerned that they're gonna ruin my favorite Assassin's Creed game by just shoving things on the map. I just
No,
like
Ubisoft wouldn't do that. Come on, this is Ubisoft we're talking about. They own the Tom Clancy franchise. That means something.
I kind of want that treatment when I open Google Maps. Like, here's a number of things that you have to do around town. Like, you know what? I do have to get coffee. Like,
oh my god. It's like, hey, you remember you love Black Flag? We're gonna add 150 hours of unnecessary quests and all that. And quasi life service elements. So you too can wear your colorful hat with a different shade, and we're just gonna pummel you with seasonal
Well,
patterns.
that was what the other game was, right? Skull and Bones.
Yeah, the same studio that brought you the best naval combat in pirate setting ever also brought you that thing. So
That thing.
same studio.
In 15 years after release of Duke Nukem, whatever it was, 3D.
Forever.
But we should talk about that because I know they're having their event today. But I'm looking forward to what they say at Ubisoft because if you're talking about one that has fallen mightily, you cannot not say it's Ubisoft, who just has been on a journey down.
It's a bell
like
curve,
a sinking ship.
No, it's a bell curve, man.
It's
It's
like you
part of
gotta
the normal Ubisoft process. They always crash and burn. You say, "Oh, they don't belong here." Then whoever comes, I forgot last time, the company with a V came and tried to kind of hostile takeover. Everyone's like, "No, not Ubisoft. Ubisoft is the gem." And then we're like, "Oh, screw those guys again." It's a rinse and repeat. We go through a cycle with Ubisoft.
Gaming's favorite family.
Yeah.
Gaming's favorite something, that's for sure.
Justin, let us know where we can find you and more information about you and the wonderful content you help facilitate and provide.
Is this to me?
This is to you. We don't care
Okay.
about you.
I am on LinkedIn. Please reach out to me on LinkedIn. Link in with me, chat with me. All this. I always answer everybody, so please, reach out to me there. I'm in the business of curating forums. I have to be the nice guy. So I will. Well, not everybody. If it's like, hey, would you like to try our new platform for like media buying on this coffee cup? Like, no, I'm all right. But yeah, LinkedIn is definitely the place. I hang out in Greg's Discord server. So please, hit me with all of your hottest, craziest takes, and or if you're into like Marvel shows and the Clayface trailer and stuff like that. So that's where you can find me, and reach out if you do want to join our forums. If you're on the media side, e-com side, please reach out. They're free. You can join whatever you want. I'm always happy to onboard people and get them, within here and sharing insights. The give back is that we share the insights. So the more you give on those, the more you get. And, we're always happy to network too on those. So please do reach out.
He does have great content. We'll post links to him so you can check it out. Hopefully we can share some of it when he gives me the thumbs up or thumbs down. Colin, let us know.
You also could find me on LinkedIn. I guess I don't answer everyone. I do talk to a lot of people on that platform. I have my newsletter that goes out normally Fridays at some point, patch notes. Also on Substack, it's almost at 100 subs there. Congrats. Where the LinkedIn is like 30x larger, something like that. But subscribe on LinkedIn, subscribe on Substack. I write extensively about things. This week I'll be writing about Microsoft. So if you actually heard this whole conversation, should be no surprises there for you. But follow for the next one and the next one, right? So yeah.
Great
That's where you'll
stuff.
find me.
Yeah, we'll share all of Colin's stuff. Follow Player Driven, playerdriven.io. Join our Discord. There was a QR code. If it's not, just go to the website. You'll find it somehow. I appreciate you guys listening to us.